Hi, I'm Haley. I'm a high school senior and a fierce FIRST robotics competitor. You may be unfamiliar with FIRST. Well, so was I until my friend introduced it to me. Science, technology, and engineering, it wasn't something I saw for myself until I got to experience it hands-on. It's so much more than building robots. Sure, I've been able to learn a ton about coding, computer science, and other technical skills, but I've also been able to learn about marketing, design, communication, and teamwork. Getting to compete in a global challenge has allowed me to find a community of like-minded individuals with whom I can have a greater impact beyond the classroom. Seriously, our FIRST team is like running a small business. I lead a team of 15 students, which has taught me a lot about myself, provided me with internships and real-world opportunities I had no idea existed, and given me access to scholarships that I thought were only accessible to athletes and geniuses. I can't stress enough that FIRST isn't just for future scientists and engineers. I'm genuinely excited to take what I learned from FIRST, the technical STEM skills and self-confidence, collaboration, and leadership, and apply it to the next chapter of my life as I prepare for medical school. FIRST has really shown me the value of experiential learning and made me more confident than I've ever been. Now that my school district has expanded FIRST programs to all ages, I'm glad I can give back to the kids in my community who are starting right now with FIRST Legal League. Once you're in it, you're a member of FIRST for life.
Smartphone is so smart. It raises and lowers using a hydraulic-powered scissor lift system and transmitters placed in residents' cars. Neighborhood residents wouldn't even notice it. It also lowers for emergency vehicles, the same way that lights turn green for them.
So that's how we start. So design quickly, but doesn't work.
You know, it might be an option to switch these chords to see if it's the circle. Although that would require breaking.
It's fun to see how FIRST through the years develops this interesting network of people. Both of my kids. Hi, I'm Heidi Sipe, Umatilla School District Superintendent and FIRST Robotics Coach. FIRST has been a game changer for our school and our community. It's helped us change culture and, more importantly, change the trajectory for our at-risk students. FIRST exposes students to different professionals and to top universities across the nation to help them want more and to see more. FIRST has helped our students attend great universities and become part of STEM professions all across the nation.
Yes, we build robots, but we also want to have a bigger impact in our society.
FIRST for us starts at kindergarten and goes through high school, and it's exciting to see our high school students helping our younger FIRST students succeed. I have seen firsthand the absolutely positive impact that FIRST has had on our school culture, and I want that opportunity for every student in America, and I'm counting on you to bring FIRST to your school and your community, because FIRST works for students.
That was a great video that first filmed at our First Tech Challenge State Championship last February. Hope you got to see yourself or perhaps some of your friends from Minnesota. Welcome, I'm Cheryl Moeller, and I, along with the rest of High Tech Kids and First, would like to welcome you to the 2020-2021 First Tech Challenge season and to our kickoff here in Minnesota. I'd love to be able to stand in front of you on stage and see you all in person, but this year, it's not to be. We are working hard to make this season memorable, not for what you're missing out on, but for what we can achieve together. High Tech Kids, who are we? Well, even though Norm is the First Tech Challenge coordinator, everyone at High Tech Kids works together to provide the best programs and service in Minnesota. All 5 of us have been at our galactic headquarters this past week, streaming the breakout sessions and preparing for today. Along with being the program delivery partner in Minnesota for First Tech Challenge, we also manage First LEGO League Challenge and First LEGO League Explore, which used to be called First LEGO League Junior. This year, we've also become the Coder Z virtual robotics partner here, also in Minnesota. We get a lot of requests to distribute information, especially through email, but we do have some guidelines that I'd like to let you know right now. We will reshare, retweet, and share on our social media, but we will not provide access to our coaches or team data. And our email blasts are solely about our tournament information, so we don't flood everyone's inboxes. But we want to know what your teams are doing, and we want your teams to connect to each other. So please join us on Twitter, on Facebook, on Instagram. Feel free to email us and ask us to post things or even repost them. We're happy to do that. We want to show the community what is all going on in First Tech Challenge here today. So if you ask us to include something in a blast, we're going to say no, but we're happy to share this information. As a nonprofit running these STEM programs, most of our income actually comes from our sponsors and grant funders, so we need to thank them next. So here's our sponsors we've got lined up so far for this season, and that would be Boston Scientific, Collins Aerospace, Abbott, Best Buy, Cummins, Seagate, the RBC Foundation, Ecolab, Thomson Reuters, and we also had some financial support from Proto Labs. We are truly grateful for these sponsors. Without them, our fees would be pretty high, and we want to make sure our programs are affordable for everyone. So let's put our virtual hand together for them. And next, I'm going to turn it over to Vicki Cody, our programs director.
Hi, I'm Vicki Cody. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about what High Tech Kids does as the local First partner and what we can offer your team. Please remember that when it comes to everything FTC in Minnesota, we are your go-to group. So for anything about things that are happening in Minnesota, please email us, please look on our website. We provide training for coaches, organize and manage all the official tournaments in the state, along with FLL Challenge and FLL Explore. Last year, we ran 44 in-person official events. Sounds like a lot. We had a great time, but like you know, this year, as you know, we're going to be running all remote events. Norm will go into that later on in the presentation today. As the local partner, we are also responsible for training the judges and referees for all of these programs. And for all you teams, Norm is here 24/7 to answer all your questions. You just send him a text, 555-1234. I'm just kidding about that. However, Norm and I are here to answer all your questions. Just reach out via email, call the office. We're more than happy to help you navigate whatever it is you're trying to navigate. I want to talk a little bit about rookie coach training. So this will be our 3rd year in offering rookie coach training. Even though we call it rookie training, this training is also helpful for 2nd-year coaches or new mentors of veteran teams. Please remember that this is actually for coaches, adult leaders of teams, not the actual kids themselves. It's a teach the teacher type of training. In this training, it's a collaboration of High Tech Kids staff, mainly Norm and Jeannie, successful coaches, and longtime judges. They are going to be here to answer all your questions, everything from programming to the engineering notebook, and what to expect at an event. And this year it'll be what to expect at a remote event. This training this year will be remote. It will be free. However, we do ask that you register. The registration can be found on our website. Now, let's talk about how we can move forward as a team. All right, as you know, FIRST is the national nonprofit that authors these robotics programs. And in order to compete with us, High Tech Kids locally, teams must register nationally with FIRST. Now, we all know this is going to be a challenging year. In the past, I could pretty reliably estimate the number of teams that we would have, but this year that metric has been thrown out the window with COVID. So as of this morning, we had 51 registered FT teams in Minnesota, which is fabulous. But compared to the 113 we had at KickOff last year, we're down. And we just don't know how many teams are out there that are going to be registered. So if you know that you're going to participate, please, 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 please register as soon as possible. That is really the only way that we can plan to make sure that we have enough place for everyone and that we have enough events for everyone. So I really, really implore you to register as soon as you possibly can. Okay, I'm going to get off my soapbox about that one. Let's move on to how to register for a Minnesota qualifier. So all Minnesota event registration will take place on the High Tech Kids website, not on the FIRST website. And because FTC teams are allowed to play more than once, we open registration in waves. The first wave of qualifier registration this year will open October 9th at 3 p.m. We have pushed registration out about 2 to 3 weeks from past years. We want to give teams time to work out, the how, when, how are we going to do this, who's going to be on my team if I'm going to have a team. We're going to give you guys a little bit more time to do that. And then for teams who want a second play, the Wave 2 will open October 16th, again at 3 o'clock. And again, if you are not registered nationally, so that we can make sure that we have enough place for everyone, please, please, please register. Also with registration, I neglected to say we have reduced our fees this year because they are remote events, and our qualifiers will be $125 each. I'd like to talk a little bit about the High Tech Kids website. You may have noticed that this summer, the High Tech Kids front page website, we got a facelift this summer when we took on our additional Coder Z program. What you may not know is when you dig deep into our website, we have a ton of information and resources for teams and coaches, and I want to talk about that a little bit. We did keep our color coding, so when you're talking and you're looking for things about FTC on our website, make sure all those bars and everything is orange. If it's a different color, you're in a different program. But today I'd like to talk about a couple of the tabs there on the side, team resources and scholarships. So the team resource tab, please, and I don't expect you to be able to read this, but under the team resource tab, the first gray bar you'll see, and just note that those gray bars open, they're little accordions and they open, they have tons of information underneath them. The first one is going to be everything about Ultimate Goal this year. And later on today, we're going to update all those links with all the fun stuff that you're going to see, at the end of our presentation. The second one is another one I'd like to call out, and that's the mentor resources. There are a lot of great resources within that accordion. One of them is our Minnesota Slack channel. I really encourage you, if you're not on that Slack channel, join that Slack channel. It's not run by High Tech Kids. It was started by some Minnesota mentors, and you ask a question in that Slack channel, and within minutes, people are giving you a flurry of answers. And it could be about wheels. It could be, how do I run my team this year? And it is only, and keep in mind, it is for coaches and mentors, not for kids, but a great resource for coaches. The Scholarship and Awards is the other tab I'd like to talk about a little bit. All of our team grants, the first rookie grants are there, and then all of our local awards and year-end awards, youth awards. Just dig in there. I really encourage you to, dig through these tabs and see what's in there, and just poke around. So we know this year is going to be weird. We all know that, right? We are trying so hard to really try to make this season as fun as possible for teams. You guys want to see robots, and we are trying our best to figure out how to make that happen. I'd like to show you here is a short clip of what we hope our events will look like again.
Hi, my name is Norm Tiedemann, and as Cheryl mentioned, I am the FTC coordinator, although I rely heavily on all the staff here. I'd kind of like to zoom the camera around our galactic headquarters here and show you Barb, who's running all the video and the OBS, and then Jeannie, who's over there monitoring the Twitch and Twitch stream chat channel. But then you'd also see the field, and that would kind of give away everything a little bit early. So we didn't show you that last video, so you think about what you might be missing this year. Instead, I want you to think about everything that FTC truly is. The camaraderie, the friendship, the cooperation and competition amongst the teams at these events. That's what that video is showing. And we, with your help, can do that again and make this the best season ever. Whether this is your first year or your last year, it's our goal to make this an awesome year to remember for all of its good. Now, I'm going to talk about some of those plans that we have to do that. First off, on our schedule, as Vicki mentioned, we have fewer teams. We don't really know how many we're going to end up. It's kind of an interesting conversation we have every week. But due to fewer teams, we're probably not going to offer any November events this year. Just doesn't seem like that's necessary. It also gives teams a little more time to get stuff together before they start the season. We are going to try and have enough slots so that every team can play both in December and January. And again, that depends on the final number of teams that we actually have in Minnesota. But hopefully that'll give teams an advantage to do that and not have to choose one or the other, and will be a little more league-like. Next thing we have is we might defer state by a couple of weeks. Again, this is still in the talking stage, but no matter what we do, we plan to be done by mid-March, so before everyone's spring break. I'm sure you've all seen the world's announcement that the Worlds have been delayed by FIRST and is now planned for the July to August timeframe. We're not going to push our stuff out like that. That's where everyone is getting to thought. We had a meeting with league coordinators and talked a lot about that and determined that with remote events, there really isn't a compelling reason to have leagues. Leagues allowed you more time to run your robot with other teams, and in this year, that's just not going to be happen. So we've decided on later tournaments, and with no leagues, the real question we have is how can we get teams, especially newer ones, engaged and moving in the fall? We don't want teams to just sit there for a month and not do anything. So we've come up with a number of ideas here, and we've talked these over with our league coordinators and a group of head officials and key volunteers, and have come up with a number of plans. As everyone probably knows, cohorts is the newest craze word, so I'm going to use it too. Here's what a cohort is. We are going to take a group of teams and put them together. This will foster team camaraderie, sharing, and engagement, we hope. And High Tech Kids is organizing these teams, and we're also going to organize some of the events. This will provide the advantages of leagues by giving teams the opportunity to interact, support, share, and help each other within a smaller group. So you'll get to know that smaller group of teams better, we hope. Teams will opt in for a time or day that fits their schedule. And High Tech Kids will then arrange these cohorts to provide a mix of rookie and veteran teams, mix of other teams. Remember, this year geography doesn't really matter. So we'll allow teams to make connections really across the metro, which they wouldn't have done in leagues in the past. Depending on the number of teams we have, we're thinking, 8 to 12 teams, something like that in a cohort. But again, like everything, until we know the number of teams and the number of teams that opt in for this cohorts, we can't really define that for sure. Throughout the fall, getting us going, we have a number of planned activities. Things like, obviously, a team introduction day, where you get together, High Tech Kids will talk a little bit and answer questions. Teams can get together and decide what they want to do. We're also going to offer a day where you can do robot runs, and we'll have our referees on hand. So the referees can actually watch your robot runs and hopefully give you advice on what might be illegal, what might be kind of on the edge of illegal, what things are good and bad. So our referees will do that. They might even score you if you're interested in that. It may also give you a chance to test the new scoring system, which I'll get into in a little bit, yourself to see how that all works. We also are scheduling a time with judges, and depending on the team, if you're a team that thinks you're kind of ready for a tournament, this could be a mock judging session. So you can sit down and give your presentation with the judge and answer their questions, and they will provide feedback. Maybe it's just an engineering notebook review, seeing what's in your notebook, what you might be missing, what things are good and bad. Basically a time for the team itself to sit in with the judges and get that interaction. Lastly, we'd like to do a set of robot inspections. We'll have inspectors there. You will have to, move your camera around to the robot to show the inspectors. But we hope they can give advice on what things might be illegal, what things are missing, and get your robots up to following all the rules. We know you're going to read all the rules and do the self-inspections and all that kind of stuff, but sometimes there are things that you miss or misinterpret, and hopefully our inspectors can catch that and put you on the right path. So if you're interested in this, and we really hope that all teams are, because we'd like to get all teams kind of engaged in this, you can opt in today. On the High Tech Kids website, one of those buttons on the right side was cohorts, and you can click on that, and there's a place where you can opt in or submit your request to opt in, ask you a few questions like what days and times you're interested in, and then we'll organize those and hopefully get that done. I think the end of September is kind of our deadline for when we want to get those and organize those so we can start with our High Tech Kids Plans events in October and the beginning of November. Okay, what else are cohorts going to be? Well, we hope to have a cohort leader similar to a league coordinator who will organize some things on their own. Remote social time, checkpoints for teams. Are teams keeping up with their planned schedules? One of the things about leagues is if you have a tournament every 3 weeks, well, you have to have a robot that runs every 3 weeks, or that's the idea. Hopefully these cohorts can provide teams with those checkpoints and also encourage the teams that might be behind to keep up with their stuff and get going. One-on-one between teams, veteran teams mentoring rookie teams, great outreach. This is really what leagues are designed to do, and hopefully we can do this with the cohorts with a larger number of teams this year. Maybe there are specific presentations or discussions, CAD, 3D printing, strategy, notebook, that. And again, this is a chance for veteran teams to reach out to rookie teams, or even not, maybe a 2-year team wants to give advice for what they learned between their first year and their second year, because that's really important too. Sometimes a rookie team is looking at a notebook from a veteran team going, well, how am I going to create this 800 pages? And so it's good to get a feel for what happens in your next year. Totally up to the cohort leaders. And obviously observe and run practice robot runs. Hopefully these teams will have a time when they can run their robot and the other teams in the cohort can watch and just enjoy that part of it. Now, I mentioned cohort leaders. Who will these cohort leaders be? Well, hopefully you. Similar to a league coordinator, it's going to be a little bit of coordination on time and that, but basically it's finding out what your cohort wants to do and setting those things up. We hope it's not going to be very much time, and we at High Tech Kids are here to help you. We will plan the activities for a specific day, so if you're the Wednesday afternoon cohort, Wednesday afternoon of this week, you will get the referees. A Saturday morning cohort, well, these are teenagers, so there won't be any Saturday morning cohorts. Saturday afternoon cohorts will get, the judging things on Saturday afternoon. And you should be able to schedule other things into those times either. So that's kind of what we're thinking for preseason. What do you think the season and tournaments are going to look like? Well, here's a couple program changes we have. These were all in the Remote Game Manual 1 that was announced in July. So this should be a review for everyone. I'm sure everyone read that thoroughly and knows these already. But in the remote world, events are now a 7-day window rather than a single day. So your event is going to run from Sunday to Saturday, in effect. Qualification matches are run and scores are submitted by teams anytime during that window. Judging sessions could occur in that window, but we've decided they will occur on the Saturday or Sunday, the last day of that thing, last day of your event window, just as they've done in the past. That's just a little easier for our volunteers and for us to put everything together to do that. So we're going to do judging then. That way our judges can see all the teams in one day, and they can then, within a timely manner, deliberate and figure out awards and that. Spreading it across a week may cause teams that get early may not get the same sort of remembering. And of course, the big thing is that robot scoring and ranking has changed to accommodate remote events where teams will be running on their own. We believe that all of our qualifiers and actually probably our state is going to be remote. Even if restrictions loosen up by the February-March timeframe, we don't think there's a school that's going to let 800 people into their school for a weekend activity. That just doesn't seem like it's possible. So that's kind of what's changed in the general sense. Let's go to a little bit more specifics here. Judging, notebook, and award changes. Similar to the morning session, the judging session will occur this year similar to that. For new teams, I'll explain what that is in just a minute. We will provide feedback to all the teams. Actually, FIRST is officially endorsing judge feedback to teams, FTC teams this year. They have a form where you'll request it, but we are planning on providing feedback to all teams because we think it's good for the judges to give that kind of feedback. Even veteran experienced teams, there's always something they can improve on. There will not be any pit or finalist judging separate from the initial interview time this year. It's going to be a little bit different for judges, but we're working through that. And one thing that you might have noted, and I think this was in Game Manual 1 already, but the order of judged award advancement has changed. So the control award, namely what you do in your autonomous period, and the design award has swapped places. So control is higher on the advancement level. So by winning the control award, you have a greater chance of advancing than you would by the design award or by the control award last year. It's still below a point where, depending on how many teams there are and how many slots we have, it may not matter, but it could. And it's just a change they've made because they believe that programming section is much more important than the design at this point. Okay, I've said a few things here, and now we're actually going to take a little break so you can take your eyes off your screen for a couple of minutes, and we'll just resume this in 5 minutes, and next up will be changes to the engineering notebook. So things that you've not seen because they were in the game manual that was just released a couple days ago to partners. That game manual will be available for you later this afternoon, but I'm going to go through some of the significant changes there are. So join us back here in 4 or 5 minutes, and we'll start back up. Thanks. Okay, I'm back. I hope you're all back too. And now the moment, well, not the moment you're looking for, but a moment. Oh, one note, there was a question during the break about cohorts, and these are not just for league teams, these are for any team. There are no league teams this year. All teams are the same, all teams will sign up for qualifiers, and all teams will, we hope, join one of the cohorts. Okay, judging notebook award changes. Here's the big rumor confirmation. I heard this rumor from a number of places. But I want to make sure that the first point is very clear. The engineering notebook, as a record of your team's journey throughout the year, is still required. It is also generally unchanged in its format and content requirements. If you go through Game Manual 1, the new Game Manual 1 even, engineering notebook with all those parts is still there. But what's new is in Game Manual 1, they describe an engineering portfolio, which is a summary of the content in the notebook. And this comes from not just because of COVID years, but because of notebooks are difficult for a review. So the judges wanted something that will make that a little bit easier. If you read the quote from Game Manual 1, and yes, this is a quote directly out of that, the portfolio is 15 pages and is supposed to include, yes, sketches, discussion and team meetings, design, evolution, processes, obstacles, goals, and plans to learn new skills, and each team member's concise thoughts throughout the journey for the season. The engineering portfolio is like the team's resume. Okay, so I'll let that just sink in for a moment because you're all going, what? Right. Engineering portfolio is what you will initially submit to judges and what they will have before the judging time to look at. I think this is kind of a new challenge all in itself. Just think about how you're going to do that. Okay, what else is new? These are changes just because of COVID and remote operations. I would assume that the engineering notebook portfolio is going to stick around and will be a requirement in the future. But these are just for the remote year. Qualification matches. Obviously the match is kind of the same, but there are no alliances because a team is by itself in most cases competing on a half field. Matches are just the single team. Again, there's no alliance finalist selection or finalist matches. Matches can be run on a half field by one robot and scored. That is the planned operation for remote tournaments, as ours are. Teams will submit 6 scored matches within the event window. And I'll describe a little bit more about this later on. Total score of these official matches, that is your ranking. Used to be the ranking report that then decided the order for alliance selection. That now is your ranking to determine advancement. You're the only one on the field, so wins, losses really has no meaning. Tiebreakers have been defined this year as your score in autonomous period versus teleop, if a tie comes up at some time during one of the tournaments. Because most of you are doing a half field, the reveal that you'll see from first is done on a full field and talks about the in-person judging, but we have a half field set up here at High Tech Kids, and our referees will be doing Q&A and give you information on how things are different in the half field. There are actually two game manuals too. There's a remote and in-person, and obviously the remote is what the rules we will be following this year in Minnesota, but it might be interesting to look at the game manual to in-person events too, so you can see what is possibly different. These will be available later today on the first website. Okay, so we've talked about these changes. Who is going to organize all this and keep track of matches and scores and your judging session and all that in a remote world? Well, First has actually thought about this a lot and worked on it, and they are designing what they call a remote hub. It's designed by First to provide a safe repository of information for teams, volunteers, and partners. It will allow the teams to share their information, volunteers to access that information, everything about the tournament and about the team. So all that information sharing will go through this remote hub, we believe. And I say we believe because we've seen a prototype of it, but it is still in the works. They're hoping to have, a beta testing in the September timeframe. We'll see. Once you're registered with High Tech Kids for a tournament, we, High Tech Kids, will put you in there and you will receive an invite from First with access information. High Tech Kids will match teams with judges in this remote hub, and then our volunteer judges will have access to those teams' information that they are in the same judging group. If you think about our previous tournaments, you were in a judging group in that morning and a set of judges saw 5 or 6 teams. That's going to be similar today. A set of judges is going to see 5 or 6 teams. They will be assigned to a judging group within a tournament, and then we'll work through that. Coaches will also use this hub to submit all their judging materials. So their engineering notebook portfolio, their control award submission. Along with the control award submission, you're supposed to upload a video of a robot run, obviously showing the autonomous mode. And then this is where you also would put in your request for feedback. And it's where you would receive some feedback from First. Since High Tech Kids is giving feedback to all the teams, we will probably mail that feedback out along with your participation pins and awards you get. So we're assuming after the tournament, we're going to put together a mailing package for all of you with your information in it. Next, how will teams play the game? Teams will play the ultimate goal solo, as I said, in your classroom, your lab, maybe your basement, or possibly at High Tech Kids, and I'll explain that in just a second. The hub is used to consolidate all these match scorings. Teams will have access, once they've registered for a tournament, to a cloud-based live scoring app. It's very similar to the app that referees used at in-person events. So it has the various things. You peg up things as they happen, and that will come up with the score at the end. There's also a manual scoring method where you can score on a paper sheet and enter that into the remote hub at some later time. Again, all this has to occur within that 1-week tournament window. The scoring app is supposedly can be used for practice matches and for submitting your official scores. As I said before, teams will submit 6 official match scores. There will not be a leaderboard for teams to see scores of the other teams during the tournament window. So you will not be able to compare your scores with the other teams at your tournament as you're going through those things. That will first be available once we get to the closing ceremonies time at the event itself on that day. It is expected that teams will practice gracious professionalism or First core values in submitting their scores. I'll leave that as it is. To walk you through really precisely what the process is for submitting official match scores during the tournament window, teams have to decide ahead of time, this is going to be an official match. This is going to be one I score. This is going to be one I submit. They will start the scoring software as an official match, and like an in-person event, They set up their robot as per the rules, touching this, holding that, doing whatever they're supposed to be doing, and then leave their robot alone. Don't touch or change anything, have it ready to go. Do the randomization, and that will be in the scoring app, as it is with the live scoring that we do at in-person tournaments. Set up whatever has to be set up for that on the field itself, not on changing the robot. You'll start the scoring software timer and hit go on your robot, just like you do in in-person events, but you're doing it on your own field, on your own. You'll tally points as if you are the referees, because you are the referees, during the match, and finalize the score at the end, and then submit it. And the idea is that you will submit the score, good, bad, with penalties, total failure, and what happens if your robot just sits there during official match? The same thing that happens if your robot just sits there during an official match in an in-person event. You move on and hope to figure out and improve for the next one. You do have a 6-day window to submit these scores, so you want to make sure that you start out early on and make sure things are working correctly. And again, I'll repeat, it's expected the teams will practice gracious professionalism and the first core values. Well, what happens if you don't have a half field or for some reason don't have access to a half field? Well, that's where High-Tech Kids comes into play, we hope. Teams without access to a field, we will have a half field set up at a neutral site, possibly our offices, possibly at a room near our offices. We're working on that, and we actually have an offer from a team to have another site that will work out too. But there will be some neutral site where you can come and run your matches. We'll have sign up for that, and teams will sign up to come in and run their matches. Because there's limited times, and because we've got to kind of do cleaning in between teams, we think we're going to limit this option to official runs only and not practice matches. Again, depending on the number of teams and the number of times they request this. There's also a minimum number of team members that will be allowed to attend this. So I don't think we'll be able to have your entire team of 15 people or whatever here at this running of events. Oh, and no, this picture is not from this year's challenge. No, those aren't game elements this year, just in case you were wondering. So what does a team actually have to do? How does this go through? Okay, as I said before, once the teams register with FIRST and then register for a specific tournament at High-Tech Kids, we will put them into that tournament on the hub, and the coach will receive an invitation to access the remote hub from FIRST. You will get this from FIRST. But note, very important, coaches must have fully completed their youth protection policy, their YPP screening, to receive that email. Truly, if you don't have that completed and that doesn't show up as completed on your dashboard, you won't receive this invite. You won't have access to the hub. You won't know the links and everything for the tournament, and you won't be able to participate in the tournament. So it's very important this year for coaches to get that completed. In the remote hub, after you get that invite and you have access to it, the schedule will be in there, the deadlines for when things have to be submitted, and links to the High-Tech Kids Discord server for their qualifier. Yes, we believe that we'll be using a Discord server for conferencing and moving teams around at a tournament. We've seen this done at an invitational tournament, and it seems to work well. It seems to be a good way to do it, so we're planning on doing that. Teams obviously can join the Discord server for their qualifier, either as a team, if you're allowed to meet in one place, or individually. So those options are open for how teams will be able to come to tournaments. So you come into the tournament, come into the Discord server, and into a waiting room for your judging group, and then you will be able to start your judging session. Excuse me. Like in-person events, first 5 minutes will be a team presentation with no interruptions. That is a hard 5-minute limit again this year, so after 5 minutes you need to stop or your judges may cut you off. Obviously if you've got 10 seconds left, they're not going to cut you off, but really because of the timing of all this, you need to practice that presentation and make sure that it's within that 5-minute limit. Then they'll have 10 minutes to do questions and discussions with the judges. At an in-person event, that's where you then leave. Now we're going to keep you in that room, and we're going to have 10 minutes with the inspectors and referees. I mean, we've done an inspection with cohort teams a month earlier or so, but we'd like to see the robots again. And don't worry, we're not going to disqualify your matches if we find something that's illegal in anything. This is really just a chance for you to interact with another set of our volunteers and to learn something about your robot. So we're not using this to qualify matches. You submitted your match scores, that's that. You're on your own to do that. This also allows our judges a few minutes to discuss you as a team and figure out maybe what you might be eligible for finalist awards and for awards. And then after the inspection and kind of referee Q&A on what you're doing, we'll come back and have a follow-up judging discussion. So they will be able to ask you some more questions and get a little more information about your team for about 10 minutes. That's our plan. Remember, as I said, there's no additional pit or finalist judging. Awards will be determined by this single, about 45-minute, 35-minute judging session this year. Okay, so that's judging and robot runs. What about the other stuff at a tournament? Well, driver's meeting. That will be held prior to the event week, actually prior to the entire window. And it's going to be a driver's meeting and coaches meeting. This way teams will have the info they have. We're going to confirm that they have access to the remote hub, that they have access to Discord. We'll ensure the deadlines for submitting paperwork is known. They know exactly when that happens, because if they don't submit their judging paperwork before the deadline, it will be difficult to judge them. And then our head referee for that tournament will provide updates and clarifications to the robot rules, just like they've done in the past. That's really what they're going to be doing. And we want to do this before the event week so teams can take that information, learn from it, and fix or change anything in their robot to match the most current set of rules possible. Opening and award ceremonies, they will be some live event like this presentation, possibly here, possibly somewhere else. And we'll stream it live to Twitch, just like we're doing with this presentation. So teams will be able to see on Twitch exactly what awards they win, how they came in their robot rankings, and hopefully it will provide the excitement and interest that the in-person award ceremony does. But as we all know, a major point of FTC tournaments is really team interaction. Teams meet, they're in the pits, they see each other in the hallways. So besides our cohort plans, which are kind of in the pre-season, how can we provide that at a tournament? You know, how do we do fun? How do we make the tournament so that you want to stay there that day and see what's going up? Again, we've come up with a few ideas. We've had brainstorming sessions with a number of groups of people and have come up with a few ideas. So let's go through those. Main thing is match observation. Excuse me. We would like for each team, even if they're not doing a control award submission, to submit a video of one of their matches. Doesn't have to be the best one or one that you submitted officially, just a run. Maybe your robot did something really funky one run, maybe funky bad, that you want to put in here just so people can see it. Hopefully we'll get these ahead of time and we can queue them up in a YouTube playlist, and then you can watch robot runs from the other teams that are at your tournament. So you can see how these robots have run and what their runs are. Again, remembering that, again, these aren't the official or submitted matches. And here's a thought. If you have the red half of the field that you've purchased, so you're running on the red half, you can see robots that have the blue half of the field. They're different. I mean, obviously, they're left and right. They're mirror images of each other. And then think about this additional thought. This is the kind of thing that you think about when you're doing these remote tournaments, doing something completely different. If you own a red half of the field, are you even going to program your autonomous for the blue half? Maybe not. If you're running all your qualifier matches on your field, maybe not. But, at some point you might actually come to an in-person thing, and then you better be able to do both sides. Just things you can think about that are different this year that make it a challenge in spite of all the other challenges that are going Along with match observations, have a couple of other ideas. One is within the Discord server, maybe we have some team showcase channels. We're still working out the details for this, but it's basically a time where each team can present something. So a team will be the presenters in this channel. Show a robot run, describe something special they did, an outreach that was special, describe and show some unique robot thing. Or maybe it's a Q&A with the MC and within your teams or between the teams. Maybe we have a set of questions we distribute ahead of time that teams can think about and answer live in this showcase channel time. It's really a chance for teams to show their stuff. We may have a couple of Discord channels available to teams. But remember, tournaments will have teams from different cohorts. So it's teams you may not have seen before or don't really interact with. We really want to make the day special for the teams so you stick around and watch the other teams and are part of the tournament and don't just do your judging session and then go off and do whatever. We'd still like to be the day of the actual tournament to be a day, to be something there. It will probably be a shorter day than our tournaments are, but we'd still like people to be involved. Another idea that came up was let teams submit a dance video. You know, for this tournament, this song is what you should be dancing to. And we'll let all the teams then submit their dance videos, and we can either show them on the Showcase channel or have them in YouTube. Just another thought. If any of you have really good ideas, we'd love to hear them. Please email me with ideas for how to engage teams more at tournaments. There are a number of ideas that we also have that we're thinking about, but these are the ones that are most serious, and we're kind of laying out the details for them now. Always looking for stuff. Okay. Other things so teams have done many other things, and one of the things that they do, we had a number of teams that helped at our kickoff do breakout sessions. And they gave insightful and informative breakout sessions this last week, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then Thursday night. Normally at kickoff, you have to decide which sessions you want to go to. This year, you can see them all. They will be available by Monday in a playlist on our YouTube channel. These will also be linked from our website, so you'll be able to go there, of course, on our website. But I'm going to show you a quick, I had each of the teams that did a breakout session this year also do a quick 1 to 2 minute promo video. And I'd like to show those now. So this is the quick summary of what all those breakout sessions were about. This season, our kickoff breakout sessions were presented over 3 evenings in the week prior to the game reveal. Here are some short promo videos of what the sessions were about. If you were unable to join us for these sessions, please find the link on the High Tech Kids FTC Kickoff webpage to the YouTube playlist. Thank you to all our teams and coach presenters.
Being a member of an FTC team requires lots of time, dedication, and commitment. Communicating with your team to figure out when they are free to meet up and work together on different tasks can be a hassle.
It's even worse when your team can't meet in person. When that happens, what do you do?
That's exactly what we're going to talk about.
Hi, I'm Aaron.
I'm Henry.
I'm Leah. I'm Jackie.
And I'm Claire, and we are members of Spontaneous Construction. We're going to discuss various ways of keeping in touch with your team, as well as managing people's work and personal schedules.
Throughout the many years of our robotics career, we have been using different softwares to have efficient workflow and keep all of our work organized.
In our breakout session, we will be discussing each of the programs that our team has used and why we stuck with the ones we currently use. We will also talk about tips and tricks on how to efficiently conduct digital meetings.
This season will be new to everyone, but hopefully our tips can help your team adapt to the upcoming year. Hope to see you there.
Hi, I'm Casey from Team 9205, the Iron Maidens. Have you ever wondered how to create a great engineering notebook? We're going to cover that and help you create your own engineering notebook tailored to your team. We'll also tell you the secrets about how the Iron Maidens create their notebook every year and how you can adapt that strategy to fit your team best.
What do you think was the hardest thing about making this robot?
It was definitely like the light strips because someone wanted green and a person wanted 5.
Team, tell me, what was the hardest thing about making this robot?
I think it was probably Thanks. I think it's probably the color scheme and the placement of the LEDs.
Can you tell me about your outreach?
Oh yeah, it's an engineering notebook.
If you want tips and tricks on how to improve your team's presentation, join Great Presentations by The Cat in the Hat Comes Back on Tuesday, September 8th at 7:50 p.m.
Yes, when I was young like you. Why are you here again?
Robomaster, we have lost our way.
Lost your way? What do you mean by that?
We need you to teach us how to make our own team in the FTC League.
Oh, the FTC League! I spent many a great year in the FTC League. I will teach you all that I know, but first, I must bestow upon you the grasses of safety. You shall wear them at every robotics session to keep you safe. And now you shall hear the wisdom of the dinosaurs, which will teach you everything they know about robotics.
We are Team 6369 Designers from Eden Prairie. In this presentation, we will talk about
Maximizing the meetings.
optimizing your outreach,
Balancing the budget.
tackling your tournaments,
Demystifying the design process.
solidifying your student goals,
And improving your neglected notebook.
and we'll see
See
you
you
there.
there on Tuesday, September 8th from 8:30 to 9.
That was great.
Hi, I'm Cabot with the Nanobots. On September 9th, my team and I will be showing you how to design parts in CAD and teach you the basics of assemblies using Onshape. We'll be designing a ball intake for the Go Builder Strafer chassis and showing you how to use some off-the-shelf parts, the Strafer kit, and a custom designed part to complete our functional intake. We look forward to seeing you virtually.
Hi, I'm Amy Tong from the team 9205, the Iron Maidens. Have you ever wondered how to prevent continuously occurring problems on your robot? Well, we'll show you how to start this prevention by using an FMEA, or Failure Modes and Effect Analysis table. We'll also cover how to implement it on your team, from the basic concept to creating a table, and then finally integrating it into your team's robot design process.
We are Cat in the Hat Comes Back, Team 10273. Check out what you can do with Mechanism wheels. Look at all the cool driving techniques you can do. You can drive it forward. You can drive it backward. You can go at a 45. Spin. You can strafe to park on a line. Look at all the cool things that you can do with Mechanism wheels. Come join us Wednesday, September 9th at 7:50 p.m.
It's easier to program than it is to drive. That's actually cool.
That was impressive!
Hello, we are the Cyberhawks, Team 14188, and we are doing the FTC Blocks Beyond the Basics breakout session. Most people think FTC blocks are like this. But with enough time, the programs can become like this, or even this. Some of the main topics we'll be covering during our breakout session are how to use telemetry effectively, how to use functions efficiently, and how to do vision using TensorFlow and Vuforia. Thanks for watching, and we hope you can come see our breakout session. Goodbye.
How do we find somebody to do a design review for the team?
How do we help the team solve technical problems without telling them the answer?
How do we coach a team without being an engineer?
How do we manage team dynamics and conflict?
How do we find new team members?
How do we find new mentors?
How do we improve the notebook?
How do we get parents involved?
How do we motivate the team?
How do we raise funding?
How do we manage the team's time?
Wait! Join us at the Coaches Roundtable. We have world-class panelists. Each of these panelists have successfully coached a team to the world festivals. Great opportunity for you to ask them questions and learn things you don't know.
So, these 20-minute videos, as I said, will be available for you to view throughout the season on our YouTube channel and also linked from our webpage. Because where's everything going to be? On our website. We'd like to thank these teams. You can see them there for putting on this information and very helpful sessions. Providing a breakout session is one way that teams do outreach, not only for them, but also to help high-tech kids. Believe it or not, we really like teams that do outreach that help high-tech kids. We appreciate them much for this. Another way that teams can help high-tech kids is by recruiting volunteers. You, I know not as much this year, but you are out in your community talking with people and can find people that might be interested in helping with this. So yes, of course, for people who have been to KickOff before, here is my shameless plug for volunteers. Not only is the FTC program coordinator, but also volunteer coordinator, we're always looking for event volunteers. Believe it or not, to accommodate remote events, we still need volunteers, maybe even a few more. We need close to 30 for each tournament. We need the same number or possibly more judges. You know, it would be nice, rather than 2 judges, to have 3 in those sessions to help with stuff. We need our inspectors and referees to help with those judging sessions. And of course, we need people who might be live stream savvy volunteers to help manage our tournament Discord servers. We, of course, will provide training for this once we learn it ourselves. Technical background is not required for a lot of our volunteer positions. First has training for all the volunteer positions, as does high-tech kids. We hope actually that tournaments are going to be a little bit shorter day this time, so they're not going to have to sit on hours of virtual meetings, because we all know how that is and don't really like that. So please, if you find someone who's interested, get out there and ask them if they would volunteer and send me their information. I will give them any information and pass that on. How do we celebrate these teams that help high-tech kids with events as part of their outreach? Well, we have come up with a Purple Gear Award. It is presented to any Minnesota team who meets a list of criteria, both of their own and for high-tech kids events. Any team can receive this award throughout the season. As always, where do you find this information? On the High-Tech Kids website. Please, I'll say it together here. If our website isn't your home screen already, you should consider it. Anyway, applications are accepted when you put in your application and list your events and that. We will review them on a rolling basis and then present the award to you at the next tournament or in our blasts and information. we're evaluating some changes to the criteria for this remote award because there are just not as many opportunities to do outreach that benefits the high-tech kids this year. Obviously, we had no state fair. There's no tournament hosting. Help at tournaments is going to be a little bit limited for teams this year. So we're going to change that criteria a little bit for this year so that teams will still be able to be eligible for the Purple Gear Award. If you want to see the teams who completed those criteria and were awarded Purple Gear Awards during our last season, here it is. These 8 teams, we would like to thank again for actually doing this and helping us out last year with lots of things. So what other awards are there either for the team or for individuals on the team? We'll start with a couple individual awards that people can apply for. The first is Dean's List. This is actually a first award, and it recognizes the leadership and dedication of the most outstanding FTC team members. So these are members of your team who are leaders within your team in some way. Each team may nominate up to 2 worthy 10th or 11th grade students to be interviewed as semifinalists. So when they're nominated by their team, they're called semifinalists. Coaches do that nomination via the first website. They need to complete an essay about the nominee, about why they were nominated as a semifinalist. These semifinalists are then interviewed by judges. And again, we do that judging sometime in the weeks before the tournament. And we may spread that out again this year. But we will do that. And then the semifinalists, we will select the finalists from Minnesota who are then invited to Worlds where they will compete, well, it's not really compete against, but they will socialize and do things with the other Dean's List finalists from around the world, assuming we have an in-person Worlds this year, and could be named as winners of the Dean's List. An additional and more local opportunity for individuals is team members can self-nominate themselves through an online essay. For a Stratasys scholarship. There are 4 scholarship categories for people on the team: coding, engineering, 3D printing, or project leadership. Students must be on a Minnesota FTC team. They have to be in 10th or 11th grade, and each winner is awarded a $250 scholarship from Stratasys. We will begin taking applications in December on that. One more local grant or award is actually a Salesforce team grant. The team that wins first place Inspire at our state championship receives a $1,000 grant from the company Salesforce and a former FTC team, the LazyBots. I should note at this point, Vicki talked about the first rookie grants, and they're available. There's a link on our website to get you to the first site for those. We've been told that there are plenty of grants still available from first. Again, they have less teams applying. So if you're a rookie team and have not yet completed your registration with first, you should definitely apply. It's money from first for rookie teams. One important note is do not pay for your registration. You have to start the registration process and stop before you pay. And then the money will be put into your account and reduce what you have to pay. But if you've paid already, unfortunately, you're not eligible for these. What else? How else are Minnesota companies helping FTC besides our sponsoring companies? We have a number of companies that are actively involved. One of those is the 3D printing company Stratasys. We have a number of alumni working there. They provide volunteers for a lot of our tournaments, and they will print 3D parts for your robot. You work directly with Stratasys. High Tech Kids is not involved in this. 3D printing is available to all Minnesota FTC teams. There's an information sheet in the team resources section on our website on how to request and submit work with some more details. There was a breakout session designing with a program called Onshape. And if you use that, that is one way that teams can submit parts definitions for printing. Colton, an alumnus of FTC and FLL, has a short little video about this. So let's roll the videotape. Sorry, I've just always wanted to say that.
Good morning. My name is Colton. You may recognize me as an MC, but today I'm here to talk about 3D printing. When I was in First Tech Challenge, I was on a team named Fish in the Boat. We asked Stratasys to print some parts as we were headed to the World Championship. It was my first experience with 3D printing. 3D printing was not a recognized tool for First Tech Challenge teams like it is today. 7 years later, every state championship robot I looked at utilized 3D printing. We're so excited to see so many teams using 3D printing. I work for Stratasys now, and we are still 3D printing for teams in Minnesota because we know the benefit of 3D printing, and we want you to experience that benefit. If you design for additive manufacturing, we will 3D print parts for free. 3D printing allows you to combine multiple components into one part. It allows you to save weight. It allows you to make geometries that were otherwise hard or impossible to create. It even allows you to decrease your lead time and increase your engineering cycles. Take this robot end-of-arm tool, for example. It goes on the end of a KUKA robotic arm. This 3D printing this allowed them to streamline the design process and reduce the weight by 91%. And that's huge when you're talking about a payload on the end of a robotic arm. To submit your 3D printing request to Stratasys, follow this QR code. Good luck, teams!
All right. Other alumni that help for your team, help for high-tech kids, a very important organization is Minnesota Robotics Club. This used to be called Go First, but they are now an official club of the University of Minnesota, and they are an amazing support of our program. They have really been an awesome resource to high-tech kids. When we first started FTC a number of years ago, they were the people who came in and knew what the tournament was about and ran our tournaments practically, and they still provide us with a large number of volunteers, not only for FTC, but also for FLL. They have always kind of hosted us for KickOff when we were at the university there. We've really come to rely on their help a lot. Instead of doing a POCO, post-KickOff, get it, POCO, event this year, they have decided that they're going to do a virtual fall FTC workshop scheduled for October 10th. They're going to have some alumni panel discussions, presentation on FTC-specific topics. They're still working out the details too. Again, these are college students, so they have to figure out how they're doing college along with this. Please monitor their social media or website to learn more about that, and we will put stuff on our social media when we get more information about what this event all will be on October 10th as well. So keep that in mind, please. That's been a great help to teams. All right, so you've seen all the stuff that we've changed and all the stuff that we're trying to do this year differently and make it good. And really the question is, why are we doing this? In spite of everything, it's a difficult season. This video hopefully will explain a little bit about what motivates us to make it better. This is the Stratasys educational video.
I'm a maker.
I'm an inventor.
I'm an innovator.
I am an architect. I'm an explorer.
I'm an engineer.
I'm an artist.
I'm an aerospace engineer.
I'm a maker.
An inventor.
A designer.
I'm a creator. A scientist.
Graduate student.
An educator. An educator.
I'm an educator.
I am the future.
Okay, next we're going to take just a short break and show some pictures from last year's state FTC tournament. This is really showing, again, how teams worked and played together, which we will do this year in a slightly different way. It's just going to be a little bit different this year, but hopefully we'll be able to create these same memories for the season. If you're just joining us, we'll get to the reveal in a couple of minutes. We're showing some pictures from last year's FTC state tournament. For those people who have just joined our Twitch video, here's some scenes from last year's FTC tournament. We're going to switch back to the reveal in just a few minutes. All right, enough of that for now. Those are available actually on our SmugBug site if you want to see those pictures, find yourself. We've got one other video from First, which is a First alumni video that you might be interested in seeing.
Me to volunteer and give back to the community.
I think First can really prepare you to solve any number of the world's big problems. The skills that you're going to be learning can completely change the future.